everybody. It's Marta. And Freddie, Betty, and I are going to have a little chat about lesson 2 and chapter 2 in Patty Lyon's Knitting Bag of Tricks because the Unraveling podcast is having a knit along hashtag Unraveling Bag of Tricks, KAL. You can find me as Marta Schmarta on Instagram and Ravelry. And Betty, where do they find you?
Hi, I'm Freddie Betty, and you can find me. I'm Freddie Betty on Ravelry. I'm Freddie Betty 01 on Instagram, and I'm Betty Crowell on Facebook.
What did you discover in chapter and lesson 2?
I thought this was very helpful for me. I've been struggling with my swatches, my flat stockinette swatches. I'm so used to knitting in the round that I just lost that skill. And the exercises in lesson 2 really helped me. What I would like to point out first is that when you go through the workbook, you might see a ball of yarn with needles stuck into it in a cross configuration. And that's to alert the reader that they need to refer to certain sections in the original Knitting Bag of Tricks book that was published before the workbook came out that we're working from. So I did the measuring cup exercise. I went to the original Knitting Bag of Tricks for that, and that revealed that I was knitting off my needle tips. So I corrected that, and my swatch became a little better. And then I went to the original Knitting Bag of Tricks section for the space between the stitches, and that cleared up my stockinette even more. And then we finally got to swatching the lazy way in the round, and that's my jam. And I just wanted to point out that we all had trouble finding this one in the original Knitting Bag of Tricks book, and the material to support this section is in chapter 6, page 142.
Excellent. Thank you for pointing that out, Freddie, Betty. Because I was one of those, just like last time. I just like, I got excited or something, zoomed right through it, and I didn't do it the way that Patty Lyons detailed in her original book because I didn't quite comprehend that little symbol meant to go back and refer to the original book.
How did your swatching go?
I actually, with no surprises, I actually have done swatching in the round and swatching flat. I've taken some classes on color work, and I was already pretty comfortable with it.
Yeah, I really liked it. And the part I liked too is how you knit through the back loop on the first and last stitch, and that tightens it up even more, because even when I did the other way where you run the long strand of yarn behind in the round swatch, those edge stitches were just so loose and distorted the work.
Yeah, it's hard to make it neat. So yeah, it was valuable, for both of us. It sounds like for different reasons. And then the whole measuring cup discussion. And you had said you had some discoveries about fabric and gauge.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I say, I love those long lace needle tips and I work off of them, and I love a tighter fabric. But this exercise made me realize that it was sort of distorting my stitches.
Mm-hmm. Right. And
And
sometimes it doesn't affect your stitch gauge, but will affect your row gauge.
right, which I've always had problems with. Well, tell me your thoughts of your fabric before and after blocking.
Oh, yes. Mine was the same. Absolutely the same. How about you, Freddie, Betty?
My stitch gauge was pretty much the same before and after blocking, but my row gauge increased a little bit after blocking, but not by much.
That's good.
I will say that I did prefer my blocks, my swatch after it was blocked because my stitches evened out and it looked a little bit nicer. But the gauge was
Oh,
basically the
yeah.
same.
Well, good. I'm glad that, you and I have been knitting for a long time, but these exercises really still continue to be important and to teach us new things, even if, like me, I thought I just zoomed through it and realized, oh, maybe I should try it a different way or read more carefully. That's always my downfall. There was a considerable amount of space devoted to doing math. I now I have designed a few patterns, and so I was very familiar with the whole mathing thing and enjoy it. I enjoy it. I liked it, um, and so went after all of those exercises and practice exercises with gusto. How about you?
The math part wasn't bad. I was wondering if it was going to be challenging, but the magic triangle I liked that made it easy for me to remember how to substitute certain numbers, and the rest of it was very straightforward.
It was Patty Lyons has a great way of taking something that could seem daunting and just breaking it down into very, let's say, easily digestible chunks and demonstrating how to use, like that math triangle, to arrive at the number that you need. What else did you like about this lesson and chapter? There was a lot of good information.
There was. I just like the process of just continuing to prove and tweak things.
Hmm. Me
How
too.
about you?
I love how she has places where you can write in almost like a journal type of experience. What are you finding as we work through these lessons and chapters?
I mean, they're good for me because my biggest fault is that I'm a perfectionist, and there are so many times I frogged patterns or works just because I think there was a small flaw in them. But I'm just enjoying this overall. I don't really have any other knitting goals rather than just to learn different techniques and see how other people do things.
Well, that sounds like a great place to end things this time. Next time we'll be talking about chapter and lesson 3 with all new things.
I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. Until next time. Bye.
Bye.